Welcome back, Weather Kingdom. In this update, we are going to be taking a look at the long-range weather forecast, as some indications are expecting a very cold and snowy winter, when some others are not in love with the winter weather and more of a mild type pattern into December. We're going to break that down in this update, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the models and the forecast that we are seeing. All right, so let's get it right in here. So this is the satellite imagery here, and when we are taking a look at the satellite imagery, we kind of draw out what is going on here. We do have an upper level low bringing some lake effect snow and snow showers and even some rain showers across Pennsylvania and pretty much the entire Northeast. Also at 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts across the entire Northeast with wind advisories. Even some of the wind advisories up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. That's going to linger into the rest of tonight, as tomorrow it will be more warmer and quieter across the Northeast, as the pattern will be changing to a more of a mild and drier start in the Northeast in your early of the week. As later in the week, patterns could even warm even further with some more rain chances and even some more snow chances in the higher elevations. Back here in the west, we continue with the unsettled weather, the atmosphere river event that has been going on, and that should start to die down just a bit, but we are expecting a few more active atmosphere river events to continue to happen. So stay tuned if you guys are out in the west. Central U.S., we're pretty much going to be staying relatively quiet with some chances as later in the week for some severe weather across the central and southeast of the U.S. So we're going to get it right started in here, and we're going to take a look at the 3 to 4 weeks NOAA temperature outlook. And when we take a look at this was just updated as of yesterday. And the latest data is pretty simple here. Colder air to the north in the lighter blues and darker blues. We're going to be talking about some pretty chilly and cold air. And that is what the thumbnail of this video pretty much looks like, is the pattern I am expecting. And NOAA is seeing it too, that we could be talking about some below temperatures across North America, even into Central America. While the southern United States stays pretty equal to even above average temperatures, especially for the southeast. We're going to have to wait and see on how this update continues, as some of the latest models kind of got a little bit warmer and pushing that colder air a little bit to the north. It's kind of been this flip-flop between the 12Z runs and the nighttime runs, where the early day runs are showing this very cold air and very snowy pattern, and then the 18Zs and 6Zs and the overnight 0Z runs are showing a much warmer pattern. So I'm going to break it down in what we should believe and what we shouldn't believe in just a moment. Before I actually go into the long-range models, I do want to talk about a clipper system that will be impacting parts of the northern United States. So we're going to actually go right into the Midwest, where this system is going to be taking place. And let's go into the next 24 hours. There is our little bit of a low. Let's go 39 hours out here. This is almost in 2 days, you guys. And we do have a strip of snow on the northern side of this low, while this is going to be a clipper system that's going to be following the jet stream, and then that ridge is going to start building into the northeast for a little bit. We do see a chance of some light rain to even light to moderate snow, as we got that cold air damming. So you guys might wonder, what is cold air damming? It's when we got colder air aloft and then warmer air at the surface, and when they can meet at nighttime, it creates this atmosphere to be unstable. So this might not be sticking snow, but it's going to be some wet snow. And if this is heavy enough, it could drop about an inch or two in some elevations. And this is kind of that event where I don't expect it to bring more than 3 inches, honestly. If anything, just a coating to maybe 2 inches at the most. This will be parts of northern Chicago. This will be in the strip here. I think this shirt is a little bit overdone. But when we take a look at the Northeast here, this goes through southern Pennsylvania and western. I'm very curious if this is going to actually be this heavy. This will be in the next day and a half overnight. This could actually happen, maybe an inch or two of snow. I will be surprised if we even see a 4. I just don't believe that this is going to be a major clipper system, even bringing some flakes as far as south as Maryland, New Jersey, Philadelphia on the NAM model, and then starting to pretty much die away with some showers as we continue. And then you can start seeing that ridge and that 530 line moving north. All right. When we take a look at the snowfall forecast, like I said, not too much. When we take a look at PA, maybe a coating to an inch at most, maybe 2 inches. But I don't see anything more than 2 inches. This stuff up here is lake effect throughout today. And when we take a look at the Midwest, maybe parts of northern Chicago could maybe get an inch or 2. I think this is a little bit overdone. But this is going to be a good shot of a clipper system for November. So if you guys are in any winter weather advisories or watches or special weather statements, just know that the roads may be a little bit slippery, especially when it gets colder out at night. It could be some icy spots on the roadways. So now we're going to actually start talking about the long-range forecast. And this is the latest European with the latest data. I'm telling you guys, Sunday, 12Z, it is still actually running to speak of it right in here. The European 12Z run right there. So let's talk about the latest run and then the latest 12Z run of the afternoon. So when we take a look at the next 48 hours, this is our clipper system right here. And the pattern is starting to change up here in the next 48 hours. Warmer air is starting to surge to the north, and colder air is starting to surge to the north. So it's not the best pattern, and the Euro is really not into this snowy solution at all. Honestly, to argue is the European shows nothing. Maybe some showers of snow, but mostly rain. So it is a little bit interesting that the NAM and the mesoscale models are in a little bit of a disagreement than your global models. Now, as we take a look at the next 4 days, look at what starts to happen. We still got a little bit of a high pressure trying to bring colder air, but we also got some thunderstorms now with a low pressure developing back out in the Four Corners. And then you see this little bit of a trough. So what's going to happen here is this low pressure is going to start getting pulled to the north because there's nothing really keeping it down to the south. If this was a big high pressure, this low would have went more like this and then something like that. But in this scenario, it's not going to be like that. So a warmer storm pattern is expected in the short range. And you can see some showers, maybe even some severe weather. I like to keep a watch out on that. Even some winter weather to the back, as it is interesting that the latest Euro is popping out more of a stronger low, but it's also very interesting that this trough starts to dig in like this. So you don't got that much of a troughing motion. So now what happens with your cold front is it's not going to be lifted to the north. It's going to be more lifted in this type of pattern. So it is a little bit interesting. Maybe some severe weather across to the south. Maybe some back in snow or even snow on the northern side. But this is a little bit interesting for the Northeast because you got a cold front that's right in here, right? But then you got a low pressure on the back end of the cold front. In this scenario, I don't think it's going to be anything major. If anything, it's going to actually bring some mild air, but maybe not as far north as Canada. And then that kind of dies away as we get another piece of severe weather and energy coming from the Gulf, according to this, in the next 7 days. We also then have another clipper system slash cold front right in here with some colder air. We also got a weak high pressure still bringing in some of this colder air, while we got a low pressure forming in the Gulf. And in this scenario, I don't think it's going to do too much. This is going to actually ride into the southeast, maybe with some severe weather, and then ride into Pennsylvania with some very warm air, and then back end snow in a quick, brief day, maybe of winds up to 50 miles an hour, and even some lake effect or just some cold air. Then we see another clipper system slash cold front trying to make its way in. It moves to the north, and then this is our pattern as we get into the last few days of November. Is now we got more of a flat pattern, but a very cold on the northern. So this is the northern side, and this is the south side. So that's why I have the thumbnail as pretty much like this. Colder air to the north of the I-78s, and then warmer to the south. This will develop a line of potential cold fronts and even snowstorms. And some of the latest models are picking up on some snow. In the latest year, it does like a bit of a snowstorm to develop for Chicago and the Great Lakes, while the low moves right into the Great Lakes with a massive amount of cold air. And then look at this, as we go into December, very large Arctic outbreak potentially happening. So in the short range, for the rest of November, it's going to be a little bit more warmer, mild, and some very strong cold fronts. And then eventually, as winter continues, we're going to start seeing a polar vortex, I believe, to come down in much of the northern U.S. I just don't think it's going to happen right away into December. I think it's going to be more in the second half of December. But the data is still showing on the 12Zs that by the end of these runs, it's looking very cold and snowy. So it is very interesting to me on what we are seeing. And then you can continue that very cold air just continues to rattle with some big lake effect snow. So that's your entire European run. And now I'm going to like to take a look at your CFS long range. Right? So as we're going to go through this a little bit quicker now. And like I said, warmer pattern to start out the rest of the second half of November with some more rain chances right through there. And then look at that. Once again, a same type of pattern. Then that colder air comes, and it's game over from here with the CFS showing a lot of snowier and colder chances for the month of December and a lot of potential snowstorms. I don't think I'm going to go fully in this environment, but the pattern is really shaping up on the long range to me with the Europeans' latest data, the CFS latest long range data, and then your latest GFS model also likes to indicate warmer for the warmer pattern for the rest of November, and then in December a much colder pattern. So you could tell some more warmer air, maybe in the New England area, some winter weather advisories in the mountains. And then look at this. The GFS is more quiet on the pattern in the next 10 days. And then we see that potential European strong storm with severe weather. The GFS not buying it, but it still shows it. And then has a little bit of a southern slider. And then that cold air once again marks, and it stays with us towards the end of November into December. End it back here, and I hope you guys really like and enjoyed this video. This is kind of was all the model data of today's run. And I kind of explained in my opinion, I think in the second half of November, it's going to be more warmer, milder. We're going to have to watch out some of these storm systems, as the Europeans a lot stronger of some of these, while the GFS latest is still showing the storm systems, but more of a weaker. In my opinion, it's split 50-50. But I think the overall thing is in December, it's going to be more colder and a more snowier pattern is going to set up. And the chances are about the same as yesterday when I was thinking and the other day. We're going to have to wait for more data to come in. But for that, you guys, I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys really liked and enjoy. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe, and share this with other people that's interested with the weather.